Good morning. I'm MaryEllen from the channel MaryEllen After 60. And a friend of mine, her name is Elle from the channel Elle is for Living, asked me and Kathy from Kathy's Beauty Care Chats if we would do this collaboration with her. And the name of it is Why I Eat the Way I Do. So you're going to be hearing why three of us eat the way we do. So that'll be kind of interesting. And if you're here from either channel, I want to welcome you and I hope you enjoy. Elle had some rather significant healthcare changes, and she was able to turn it around using food and some herbs. I love Elle. I started watching her long before I had my own YouTube channel. And Kathy is super knowledgeable. She's also had some changes in her health by changing the way she is eating. So this is a learning process. I understand everybody eats differently, and I respect each and every one of you, no matter what you choose to, however you choose to eat. It's a personal choice. I respect you, and I hope you will respect my thoughts about it. But first of all, I want to go back about 30 years. There was a doctor, and his name was, I'm going to call him Dr. K. He wasn't my personal physician, but he was a dear friend. And I started having some significant neurological changes where my balance was off, where I was being drawn to one side. When I walked into a store, everything looked off. I mean, I would be walking down a hall and I would gravitate toward one thing or the other. And we were just talking. I hadn't gone to my family doctor. Nurses aren't wonderful about doing that. Oops, and I know it. But I was just running it past him. I said, you know what? This has to be stress. It has to be stress because I only have it Monday through Friday. He goes, it's not stress. And I said, yes, it is. I don't have it on the weekend. And I thought about going to my doctor, but I knew that they would run all sorts of tests. And if I wasn't sick then, I'd been sick later. Because, I mean, it even had some variations in my vital signs. So he said, just keep thinking what you're doing differently. Well, after several weeks, the only thing I came up with, in the cafeteria, they started serving lemonade. And I always drank water or tea. Iced tea. I didn't ever drink lemonade. Well, I thought that is the only thing different. I do that Monday through Friday, and I don't work on the weekends. So one day when I went into work, I just went to the kitchen. I felt fine. I had a glass of lemonade. I'm not kidding you. Full-fledged symptoms. Well, I wasn't a believer yet, so the next day I didn't have any in the morning, and I had some after lunch with my lunch, and the symptoms were milder. So after about 3 or 4 tries, I thought, I can't drink the lemonade. I don't know if it's any other fruit-flavored drinks. I know it wasn't homemade lemonade, but there was something in that lemonade that bothered me. Quit drinking the lemonade, had no more neurological problems. The only other time it happened to me, I hadn't had anything to eat. My sister and I had gone someplace in the morning, and I was hungry, and I reached into my purse, and I brought out kind of like a beef jerky. So I ate that, and within 20 minutes, I started the symptoms. So I ate that on an empty stomach. So those are things that definitely changed the way I thought about food, what food can do for you. Another incident that happened in the next larger town over, there was a man who went to France to learn how to be a pastry chef, and he opened a store. Well, at least once a week, a friend of mine who lived in that town, we would take turns buying pastries, and they were wonderful. So I made sure that I didn't have anything to eat so I could eat those pastries. They were delicious. I loved them, and I have never been a testy person. My mood is stable. I'm in a decent mood. Even if something's going wrong, I can work through that. And she said to me, Mimi, she said, you know what? You get a little testy after you eat those pastries. And I thought to myself, you know what? I do. I just kind of felt a little agitated, just kind of agitated. And I thought I could hide it from most people, but since she worked in the next office over, she noticed it. So I learned not to eat sweets on an empty stomach. I'm going to talk about the why I eat the way I do, and I'm going to also talk about the utensils I use in my home. Though I eat the way I do to feel good, to have energy, and if I avoid flour, which I really do very well in avoiding it, I don't wake up with little hip pains in the evening. I don't have any more joint pains at all. So what my diet consists of, and I may miss some things: meat, lots of vegetables, dairy products like cheese and butter, beans, nuts, some fruits, and I cook with either olive oil, butter, coconut oil, or the fat from meat. And I do eat bacon, and I buy the bacon at the grocery store that they slice, and none of these things have bothered me. When I say some fruits, look up on the glycemic index, and I'll put that word up there. The foods that are higher in the glycemic index are foods that rapidly make your blood sugar rise and then fall. And you can actually have reactions to that. You can start feeling aggravated. You can start, well, especially when your sugar drops, you know. So if you're eating something sweet, you need to have some protein with it. Just like an apple. I'm not trying to lose weight. I'm just trying to stay healthy. So if I eat an apple, I always eat it with cheese. What our normal day is I get up in the morning, I drink coffee, I drink caffeinated coffee. I probably drink 3 10 to 12 ounce mugs, and I either use heavy cream or half and half. And then we eat when we get hungry, and that is usually around noon, 12 to noon. And I like to have our largest meal of the day at that time, because meat takes longer to digest than anything, and it takes energy. It takes cellular energy to digest your food. So I don't want to be eating meat later on in the day, because I go to bed early and I want to sleep well. So I want to have the longest amount of time for my body to digest the meat. And here's I'll put a picture of something that's not pretty. This is what we had one day for lunch just the other day. And it's satisfying and it's good. I talked to you in a video in the past, and I'll try to link it below. I did, when I quit smoking, I just put on a ton of weight, and I used this basic plan to lose weight. I kind of tweaked it a little bit, and I kind of went by the Atkins plan. Dr. Atkins, God rest his soul. I think he was I think he was before his time. I do want to mention, Jim and I have absolutely no health issues. We do not have hypertension. We don't have diabetes. We have great cholesterol, HDL. So, you know, anytime you change anything in your eating, you need to speak with your doctor. I didn't need to mention that. I do try my best, my very best, to avoid flour and sweets. But if I do cave, and I do cave, you know, sometimes, by George, I want ice cream, and I love ice cream, and I'm going to eat some ice cream. But I make sure it's the kind of ice cream, it's something that I love, and I always eat it after my meal. So that helps. That helps the mood. It helps the blood sugar. It really helps if you're going to eat something that is not on your normal program. It really helps to eat it after a meal. I meant to mention, after I drink my coffee in the morning, I drink nothing but water. And I drink it either in a stainless steel mug, a big tall one, or if I don't have one, I drink it in glass. I think it's important what we keep our beverages in, especially our hot beverages. And I always use the same ceramic cup that says the difficulty in life is the choices, something like that. That's what I drink my coffee in. There's not a system in our body, from our joints to our eyeballs have water in them. Everything needs water. The only time you shouldn't drink an abundance of water is if your doctor has put you on a fluid restriction diet, and he would be very specific about that. I know people on kidney dialysis, they have to monitor how much liquid they take in a day. So, that's another reason to speak with your doctor. I am a registered nurse, and I cannot give advice. And I will tell you, I've gotten some flack about that. I have done a ton of patient education. When I am doing education, and I could give advice when I was working in the hospital, because I knew the patient, I knew their medications, education was face-to-face, and we would take one section at a time, and after the education was provided, they had a chance to answer questions, and then they could repeat my instructions to them. You can't do that on the internet. And I'm not a medical doctor, and I'm not a nurse practitioner. I am a professional registered nurse, and I do keep my license up, even though I am not practicing. Okay, when I cook, I use cast iron, and this was in my grandmother's when she started her housekeeping. She was born in 1885, and I think she got married in 1906. When I was 17, I bought a set of stainless steel pots and pans, and I still have every one of them. And when I was 17 was a long time ago. I'm not even going to add it up. It's kind of, oh my gosh, 40-some years ago. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I cook on glass. I cook with ceramics, and I do have one pan that is, well, I will link it below. And the only thing I make in that is omelets, because I'm just always had a thing about wanting to have good cookware that was non-porous. Now, cast iron, you can get iron from that, and that's good. You just don't want to cook anything acidic in it, because it will take the flavor. It'll make it taste bad. I use aluminum foil, but I only use it on cold items. I use plastic containers to store food, but it's cold before I put it in there. And I prefer the glass, if I have the glass container to put leftovers in. And I use Ziploc bags, but it's cold food. I don't want anything hot. I don't care what they say. I don't want anything hot in something that I don't know anything about. You could probably look up everything I say, and there would be scientific evidence that I am wrong. But this is how I have felt on cookware since I was a young girl. I used what my parents used. I mean, they used ceramic, they used stainless steel, and they used cast iron. And I have a ton of cast iron, and I love it. But what's important is what I believe. And I just believe this is what's best for me. Jim has adopted, I would say, 80% of it. He still can't understand how wheat could hurt you. And it may not hurt, but hey, there's a lot of people that aren't sensitive to it. There really are. I'm not even talking about glutens, because I think that wheat is the most prevalent grain we eat in the United States. I want you to go watch Elle and Kathy's videos. They're going to be linked below. I can't wait to see. I have an idea I know kind of how they eat, because that's how this all came about. But just be open. Keep your mind open. That's something that I always want to do. Keep my mind open and continue learning. It is all good. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.